I told you not to make trouble. See what it's got you? Limping off to my cul-de-sac to die like a god. Dog.
Guri, we must be quick.
Your face.
My bowels are quickly fading, my chimera face is sloughing, and my other face is revealed.
You look like...
Yes, my son.
Father?
Next time on Ever's After, Carinary On. Fallout from the previous episode. Guri reveals a secret and his murderous alter ego. Guri steals Mom's gun and uses it to shoot Dad. I hope I've had enough practice to hex people back to life. At least as long as I'm around, we still have a fighting chance. As if that's not enough, he kills everyone and corners Tef. War is bad.
Surprise, Uncle Harold. I'm the Chimera now.
I see you're the one who stole Mrs. Ever's gun, Guri. Just put it down, son.
Son? Don't you mean nephew? Do you really think you could hide your half-Chimera blood from me?
Losing your father all over again. You must be hurting, Guri. Talk to me, nephew.
Please do. What's your inside take on this with Muse Carinary?
My only father, Sheriff Chimera, already told me everything I need to know.
Not everything. He never told you.
If hate you choose, you'll always lose.
Oh, you'll never defeat our girls.
Give it up, Evers, unless you want to lose your precious mailman lover.
Guri, you're a bitch.
Not helping, Tef.
As if she could do anything to help you now.
You've killed my whole family, attacked everything I've ever loved. You claim to be the sheriff, the protector of this block. All you've ever accomplished is tearing neighbors apart and setting them at each other's throats. I can't even tell if you're
Guri's
human.
a bitch.
Do you know what a Chimera even is, Teferi? Our insides are magic stuff too, but we don't let the hex just sit in our hearts like the hexen. We seek it, find it, devour it. All magic, yum, 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 just like you did. But you don't have the bloodline of a Chimera or a hexen, do you? You know, the ancient hexens had a word for usurpers such as yourself. Heretic.
Ever's After, Carinary On. Boy, does it seem to Carinary On. Next up, feeling illiterate in your carnal knowledge? Let us give your libido an education. Radiation Ships is now on WSPN. The Spoon.
Okay, I think this is going to be good. I'm going to start the music, okay? And when I point to you, I need you to just hit the button on the machine, okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right. And music. I'm not really sure how long he lets this go before he starts talking and not usually paying attention. Okay, let's hit the button now.
Mutards and psychic dogs, maggot babies in tree tops ready wrench, mommy and psychic dogs. I wouldn't call myself a maven. I'm pretty sure I'm sidekick. Red Flink, looted and ready for you. Rub up against the host professor and stuff the whole thing in. You're dealing with a relationship. Keep both those hands busy with radiation ship.
I think it's working wonderful.
Great. It's good. Okay. Yes. Yeah. My dear friends. Welcome once again to Radiation Ships. I am your friend and soul guide, Professor Shaum Defroyen. And with me is a very special guest, who I will introduce in a moment. Now, some of our more devoted and keen-eared listeners will be wondering about Radd's intro to this episode. You may recall our last broadcast ended with my usual cohort, Radd, deciding that he needed a bit of a rest to recharge his usefulness. How then was he able to introduce our program while he is away on sabbatical? Well, the answer is two words. Science with a small s, and science with a big S. Say hello, science.
Hello and welcome.
It's so good to have you here, my friend.
Thank you and welcome.
It's so good.
to radiation ships.
Yes, that's where we are. That is great. So we had enlisted the help of my good friend and Radd's pleasant acquaintance, Science, to help us troubleshoot some of the power grid issues we've been having at the bunker as of late. Blackouts, brownouts, blue ins, pink downs, and something Caden calls a goldenrod hokey pokey. But when Radd left, I got to thinking, as a professor is wont to do, it may be very jarring for our newer listeners to hear a broadcast without the sound of that lovable and relatable Mary Sue to help keep things functioning at the lowest possible common denominator. So we would need a placeholder. So Science and I took one of the bunker's cleaning bots, augmented it with some components we harvested from a defunct Eugen messenger drone, and loaded it up with an algorithm of Science's design that analyzed past episodes of our show to reconstruct the personality and insights of everyone's favorite bomber jacket enthusiast.
It's very important. I would like to talk about the ways that we made this happen.
Yes, please do elucidate.
So we used a cleaning bot for proficiency, a Eugen messenger drone so we can locate people for nuclear callouts. We used extra regeni pots for sexual vigor.
Yeah.
And some extra cricket antennae I found lying around. Then we pierced it with an iron spike for mental acuity and a coffee grinder for vocal texture.
Yes. And, of course, the result is a perfect bio-digital recreation of my sidekick that is virtually indistinguishable from the real thing. I call it the Raddomatic. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, Raddomatic?
I like cans, and I remember my grandma. I've tried a lot of really weird wiggly stuff. The professor sees me at my house, and when I was a child, we've touched a lot of skulls.
Fascinating.
Wonderful.
Fascinating. What a rich texture of personality this new host has.
To build an appropriate and scientific artificial life form, you must acquire a spiritual essence. So we got as many goggles as we could and just put it on the form. I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's about time to dig into our first commercial of the day. But I would like to just check in with the Raddomatic one more time. Raddomatic, would you like to set the tone for our show today? Do you have anything you would like to say to the listeners in general?
Fat kids have flexible bones. Get as much grinding as you can, and you get sores. That seems counterproductive. And when grown-ups kiss, that's all natural. It's just the way of nature. I've tried a lot of, ladies and gentlemen, people like me enjoy that.
He's as profound as ever.
He really is. That's, there are layers to his message to our listeners today. The first is, sexual congress with children is not advisable, and I stand with him in that.
100.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's a wide variety of people, men and women, and at all points in between and beyond, that you can experiment with the way that Radd has, presumably, and the way that the Raddomatic thinks that it has, but hasn't really had an opportunity to yet, I think. I'm not really sure how all this works.
Well, for me, I had only met him that one time when we were on the bridge.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
He was a little pugnacious.
Yes.
A little rambunctious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but I have many friends who say he's amazing.
Yeah, they would know. They would know. He might not, but they would know. Okay, it's time for a commercial. We'll be right back.
Remember. Do you remember? Do you remember me? Do you remember me from high school? Do you remember me from high school? Do you remember me from third period? Mr. Fletcher's social studies class. I was 2 seats behind you. Pleasantly aloof, but not entirely unapproachable. You would flirt with your eyes, but not with your mouth. We shared a vibe. Do you remember that vibe? Do you remember our vibe? Do you remember me from high school?
Two scoops of reasons in every block. Reasons to listen. On WSPN. The Spoon.
Now, I have to say, as a man of science with a small s, I found that advertisement to be fascinating and exciting and enthralling. But as a man, not just a man of science, but as a man is science.
Yes?
What do you think of that product and or service and or program?
I think it's as wonderfully fulfilling as you have the opportunity to take to be fulfilled.
Let's just take a moment to chew on the magnitude of that statement.
Be fulfilled.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Okay. All right. I think it is probably time to take our first caller of the day. Caden, if you want to put that through. Welcome to Radiation Ship. How can we service you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. What is your name, and what's not working right about you in general, in concept, in execution? What's bad?
Well, I think you should know me. If you don't recognize my voice, perhaps you know me by my name, L. L. That's my name. Perhaps I go by many names, though. I've been called many names throughout the years. El Elon, El Shaddai, El Elohim, El Adnan, Adnan Elim, Toru El, Abu Banani El, Batanui Bin Wadi. I could go on.
What do you prefer to go by?
Just L. It's a lot simpler.
What's up, Al?
Well, I went away for a bit. I took a bit of a break. And I came back, and, it's just a mess down there. Like, what are you guys doing?
Well, we host a radio program wherein people call us with their problems, and we give them solutions. That's what we do.
Yeah, so what solution do you have to offer?
Stop doing all that stuff you're doing. Like, just go back to doing, barbecues and stuff. Like, I remember back in the day, we would do barbecues all the time. And, we'd get a cow, and we'd just, do some ribs and whatnot.
Ribs are nice. Ribs are good. So just kind of piecing together little snippets that you've told us so far, you have memory that extends beyond time. Before time. You have a number of unpronounceable, unintelligible names. Are you perchance some sort of a deity?
No, I thought that would be clear. Then you should recognize me. I am the god of gods, the king of gods, the original god. And I come back now, and there's all these other dudes just hanging out saying, hey, I'm a god too, because I've got powers. And I'm like, what the crap, man?
Okay, well, here's the thing. I respect your place as a person, thing, entity, with certain problems. But this whole God thing. See, I am a man of science. Specifically, I am science. Now, here is my question. If you are a god, how can you prove yourself to me that you're a god?
That's not my job, man. That's not how it works. You're supposed to come find me.
That's good. That's good.
So I should hunt you down.
Yes. How else will I know if you're worthy to know about me?
That's good. In any relationship, there's a certain amount of pursuit that is necessary for both parties to feel fulfilled. So I appreciate that you know your role. You know what your job is, what your job isn't. You feel that it is the job of at least science, I'm presuming maybe the rest of humanity, to seek you out, perhaps to woo you. How do you prefer to be wooed?
barbecues are really nice. I'm a big fan of a good barbecue.
I am getting that impression,
nice
yes.
ribs, yeah. Like, I was the one that, like, made all this stuff. Like, I got a bunch of kids that are gods, too, called Elohim. I named one of them Yam. Speaking of which, that's the whole reason I made you guys in the first place. I'm terrible with names. When one of my kids was born, Asherah said, you know, what should we call him? And I said, Ball. And she's like, what? And I was like, no, I mean Ball.
Baal?
Yeah, yes, correct, Baal.
Baal.
And she was like, oh, that sounds more like a name. But really, I'm just looking at shit that's sitting around, and I just named shit after that. So I was like, I need somebody to name all this shit.
Well, and if you only made one Baal, you probably needed to make two.
I think that would just be confusing anyway. I guess I'm just calling to say, can we quit all this, like, confluence stuff and just go back to barbecues? Doesn't that sound a lot better, man?
It does to me. I mean, depending on you know, your grilling style, depending on the selection of meats available. But you are, at least ostensibly, you are a supernatural power with supernatural powers. So what's stopping you from reversing the effects of the confluence and reestablishing the Earth as a barbecue-based society?
Well, the main problem is all these other gods hanging around. They're like eating up all the magical god powers and whatnot.
So it's a jealousy issue?
I'm not jealous, man. I was here before them. Like, they came in and they were like, I'm the only god. And then I was like, no, you aren't. I did that first. All these haters just rolling up on me, gripping my style.
Well, see, here's the problem with gods, as they say. As a man of science, we really just look for facts.
Let me put some learning on you, motherfucker. I hide between the facts.
I think maybe at this point we should check in with the Radomatic, who is blinking and beeping loudly as though it has some advice for you, Elle, and maybe even for you, Science. What would you like to say to us, Radomatic?
So you sound like God. You sound like Lady God. Trust your Lady God feelings. Humans have a full, rich taste, like potted meat. People like me would love to be your sandwich.
Profound. I mean, you're talking, Elle, about your love of barbecue, and you're talking about, you know, a desire to be pursued by humanity. What Radomatic is suggesting is perhaps, you know, you need to be a little more proactive. Maybe you need to pursue humanity in what I'm assuming is a symbolic act of cooking and eating. I believe the essence of what he's saying is you can't just sit back. You know, you've been absent for a while. The universe that you claim to have created has fallen into some amount of disarray. You've returned and you're bothered by it, but at the same time, you're looking at the inhabitants of that world and saying, come to me and we can make this better together. Maybe you need to seek them out.
So you're saying I should get out there and do some old-fashioned smiting?
Yes, in a manner of speaking, metaphorical smiting.
Right, so it's more like, hey guys, do a barbecue or I'll crush your faces.
So here's my question about your barbecue. I've heard previous complaints that at some points you are prepared for the barbecue and you put the person upon it and then occasionally send one of your minions, your angels, and say no barbecue. We have from a person named Abram writing in who says, sacrifice prepared, sacrifice cut short. I don't know what the deal is with that barbecue. Do you change your mind halfway through the barbecues?
That was like one time, man. It was April Fool's. Like, deal with it. Motherfuckers can't take a joke.
So here's the problem I have. Whilst I believe in your problems and your frustrations, I don't believe in you, because in science we do a fairly often thing that's called a taste test. Mm-hmm. Is there any way that we could taste and see that you are real?
Man, I'm not Pepsi. You gotta come find me, I told you once. Other than the issue with the gods, I guess my other question is, since I was gone for a bit, like, what's the deal down there anyway? Like, there's a whole sea made of poison. To reiterate, this isn't a sea that's poisonous. The whole thing is literally poison.
Yes.
And that was an accident.
From what I understand, yes, it was not my idea but it is now something that is real and something that should be avoided in the windier seasons.
Now, as I've understood it, it's not a full poison like water body as in CEA. It's more of a CEEs. It's just poison C. Like, holy shit, that's a lot of poison.
Interesting. Okay, so gaze into the poison sea long enough, and perhaps the poison sea will gaze into you.
Yes.
That's fascinating. Okay. Well, I think really trying to drill down to the heart of the matter here is that our caller today, L, he's lonely, he's despondent, something that he was once familiar with seems to have grown out of control and become quite dangerous. But at the heart of it all, L, wouldn't you say that you're just a lonely, lonely little boy looking for companionship?
No!
All right. But wouldn't you say that by your emphatic no, you mean, yes, absolutely, I am a lonely, lonely little boy in need of companionship?
I mean, I already said no once, man. I don't know what you want from me.
I understand exactly what you're saying. So to our listeners, lonely God in your area, call now and fall upon your knees.
I think you could have your own personal L.
It's give and take. All right, we're going to go to another commercial now. We will be back shortly. Don't go away. Stay. Please stay. Please stay and continue to listen to our commercial, and then to us, and then to anything else that happens afterward. Because what else are you going to do?
Step 1, listen to us. Step 3, profit.
Hi, me am Evelyn Joyce Summersby, am pretty lady to do a show. Pretty Lady Daily Show. I pretty now. You be pretty too. How to look good? How to have hair? How to wear body? Eyes look bad? Listen to show. Only on radio. Now you be pretty too. Pretty Lady Daily. All day. Everyone listen and everyone be pretty. Or else.
Jeffrey Myron Benzowski. You were lab partners with my friend Beans. I complimented you on your t-shirt that one time. You said you didn't really like the Spin Doctors. I asked you why you were wearing their shirt then. You said irony, and I said, oh, well, it looks like cotton. Then you laughed. With your mouth. But not with your eyes. And... God damn it, you were just being nice, weren't you? Never mind. I'll just go.
Mom, can we have grilled cheese for dinner? I have a feelings, Owie. Mom, can we have grilled cheese for dinner? Can we have grilled cheese for dinner? Can we have grilled cheese for dinner? It's me, Jeff. Your son?
By the light of the silvery moon, you still want us. WSPN. The Spoon.
I've got good news for you folks. I've got good news. If that last product and or service and or program didn't do it for you, we have a special live on-air call scheduled right now with a very good friend of the show, a friend of me personally, another guy that I think Radd has met and maybe talked to once or twice, but their relationship isn't as good as the relationship that I have with him. We have on the line right now, Paul with Piles. Paul, a good man, a great man, a gifted orator, and just a kind-hearted soul. Runs a little operation called Piles, and he's called in today to tell us about it. Paul, are you there?
Hi, I'm Paul with Piles, and I'm Piles.
Hi, Paul with Piles.
Hi, I'm Piles. It's good to hear from you, Shaum.
Thank you. It is also good to hear from you, Paul.
Now I have to ask, are you Piles? Did you know rabies comes in piles?
I was not aware of that. No. I mean, to your previous question, I'm not piles. There's just the one of me.
What a shame! Well, you can all come down to the night of endless rags!
So here is my question. I'm new to me, this Paul with piles or piles with Pauls.
Yes, Paul, science, Paul.
No, I'm not Paul, I'm Piles.
Piles?
Piles with Paul.
Piles, this is Paul. Paul, this is science.
Hi,
Science, this
Piles.
is Piles.
Hi, Piles.
Piles, this is Piles. And Piles, this is Pile. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit lost right now.
So if I showed up there, I was just wondering what sort of piles of things could I get?
Everything is Piles.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I can show up and there's laughs with piles, there's beakers with piles, there's Paul with piles, who's apparently piles of Pauls.
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna. He's still good. Caden, you can go ahead and cut that. Okay. Always interesting to hear from our good friend Paul, or Piles, as he now seems to be going by. Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. And speaking of dull moments, I guess maybe it's time to take another call from a real listener with a real problem, so we can offer real solutions in a real way, so that you, our real listeners, can just bask in the realness and find some real contentment.
Welcome to Radiation Ships. How may we science you?
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Thanks.
I got a problem that I don't know where to start. My name is Flavius, by the way.
Flavius?
I guess I just started dating this girl.
I'm sorry, can we roll this back for just a second?
What's up?
Your name, Flavius.
Yeah, Flavius Christodopoulos.
Okay, it's a little bit ethnic. We're going to call you Ellis. So, Ellis, go ahead and just rehash that problem again for us.
I'm dating this girl, and she's really cool.
Okay.
She's really hot.
That's good.
She's a DDF and really, really hot. And she's smart too. She knows stuff. You know what I mean? It's starting to get kind of serious.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm kind of worried about how she's gonna respond to my family and stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your family?
It's a big extended family.
Ethnic, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have these dinners, and before, when I've brought girlfriends home, it just never goes over well.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I think they're going well, usually after the dinner, the girl's I don't know if we can do this.
Okay, so your family seems a little controlling?
I guess you could say that. They control, the weather and the seas and, the hearth and, arrows.
Yeah, it can definitely. Sometimes it can feel like your family has more control than they actually do. When you're drowning in a sea of dysfunction, your oppressing powers can seem almost godlike. So you bring your significant others into your familial context, and they experience what I'm assuming is culture shock. You're from a different place, you have different customs, you have different language and food and such, and they're not comfortable with it. Have you ever considered assimilating to a more normal style of life?
I don't think it's the culture specifically. You mentioned food.
Yeah.
And, everybody loves ambrosia.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's ever had a problem with that. So, it's not that.
Is that like a Waldorf salad?
Kind of. But it's all golden and glowy. I'm not the god of make ambrosia.
So here's the question. You just mentioned God.
Yeah.
So do you have other gods bring other sorts of food?
Oh, yeah. The god at potlucks organizes that.
Oh, okay. So you weren't speaking metaphorically earlier. You are a member of a pantheon?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know our previous caller? His name was Ellen?
Ellen? No.
Okay.
There's a god of dance that's something like that.
He didn't sound like a particularly rhythmic fellow, but I don't know. I guess it takes all kinds.
Yeah, I don't know. Mainly I just hang out, at college or Olympus or wherever.
Okay. Now, your girlfriends, are they typically also gods or goddesses, or are they mortal?
My family wishes they were. Like, they're always like, you shouldn't date mortals, but like, I don't know. It's just there's something about mortal chicks that I'm into.
Okay, and your family just does not approve.
Plenty of them have like been with like mortals, but like they don't want me to like make it permanent.
Where per se is the issue with the people you bring over? Should they be immortal?
Okay, let me give you an example. Like,
Okay.
I was dating this one chick named Amanda. I brought her to like a big dinner, right? And it was going pretty well, and she was like meeting my sisters and meeting my brothers
Right,
and meeting my cousins. And then like Grandpa's gone. And I'm like, uh-oh, you know what that means? And like, sure enough, he's like turned into a shower of gold and is like trying to get with Amanda.
Okay, so the people in your family of deities are trying to have sex with your girlfriend.
Yeah, like, usually they like do a disguise though.
What sort of disguises does your family like to use?
Like a bull, or like a shower of gold, or like a goose, or a swan, or like an iguanodon sometimes.
Has your family heard of the term bestiality?
Yeah, like they're big fans of it. I'm not really into it as much, but like they seem to be pretty cool with it.
But it sounds like, I mean, if you bring a woman home and they're attempting to copulate with her, it sounds like it's not really a lack of acceptance. It sounds like maybe they're accepting her a little bit too much.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's definitely the problem with Grandpa, and like, also my sisters will always get like jealous. And Mom will be like, don't make your sisters jealous fucking around with mortal chicks. And I'm like, Mom, like, I'm not into my cousins or my sisters.
Your family is promoting some sort of internal love?
Yeah, like my siblings and cousins are like getting together and hooking up. And there's just like all these little monsters running around at the reunions and stuff. And like, that's not to say I don't want kids. Like, I like kids. I'm not talking about kids. I mean, like, these are literal monsters. Like, they have like snake heads or like tails made out of poison,
Right.
like stingers and things like that.
It sounds to me that there's a problem with boundaries and with balance. Families across the world all have their own unique traditions, things they like to do when they get together. And on top of that, it sounds like you're not getting the respect that you as an individual deserve from that family.
Like, I just feel like they're like disappointed in me because like I won't turn into like animals and like have sex with my relatives.
Right. Yeah. Expectations are difficult. Well, I think now that we have the situation pretty well encapsulated, we're gonna turn over to the Radomatic to have him weigh in on what he thinks might be a wise and prudent solution. Radomatic, what do you have to say to Ellis?
So you sound like a fat kid. Sex is extremely rare for a fat kid. Have you ever thought about money in exchange for sex? Prostitute have mouth sores and taste like potted meat. Wrap both hands around the neck and break the neck and stuff the whole skull in your mouth and become a god of suffering.
Maybe you should look at some form of personal reinvention. His suggestion was becoming a god of suffering. Have you considered becoming a god of suffering?
I mean, I guess in a way I kind of am.
Okay.
Like, I'm the god of fuck.
Okay.
Like, not like sex, but like if you like stub your toe, I'm the god of that.
Okay.
So I mean, I guess I could like ramp it up a little.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, is if you are the god of fuck, which is the nature of fuck.
Yeah.
But I think is the possibility you can expand on your persuasions? Open up the things that you might be like, oh, fuck. Like, perhaps for this situation, when you get together with your family for holidays, you look at your sister and you go, oh, fuck. I have to do this thing. Because it's just a simply family tradition. I think your family is being respectful of the rules and the thoughts that are set upon them. I think you need to open up your deistic mind and find the opportunity to say, oh, fuck, my sister.
Okay, I mean, I guess I could try that, but like, Won't, like, my girlfriend be mad?
Here's the thing. Those are more loose ties. A girlfriend comes and goes, but a sister fucks forever.
So, like a family that comes together.
Maybe there's a way that you can broaden that. I really enjoy the concept of you expanding the scope of your, let's call it, portfolio. So maybe instead of being the god that causes minor mishaps amongst mortals, maybe you can be a god that causes major mishaps amongst your relatives. So they don't currently give you the respect that you deserve, but maybe you can start to use your influence on their traditions. So when you see your relatives copulating with one another, maybe you can introduce things like leg cramps, premature ejaculations, poorly timed hair pulling, poorly timed nipple biting.
A weird ear itch.
A weird ear itch. And when, they find themselves in the throes of incestuous coitus, calling out in anger, oh fuck, they will be forced to recognize your hand in their actions, and then they will be forced to respect you as a god of trouble.
Well, and they can also spend more time thinking about its hand in their actions.
That too, yeah, that definitely.
So it'll feel like you're participating.
And, like, maybe my family would be cool with that. And, like, I wouldn't actually have to have, like, sex with them. I could expand from, like, just, like, toe stubbing and stuff like that to, like, forgetting birth control pills or, like, a late period or, like, my brother got me pregnant again, kind of stuff like that.
Exactly. You don't have to copulate with your sister to be part of the family. But, at the same time, if you want to keep this in your back pocket as a plan B, maybe identify an attractive cousin and, let nature take its course.
And also remember plan B.
Right, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, I'll give it some thought. Thanks, you've been a big help.
That is our job. It always feels good to be able to introduce solutions, viable, real-life, practical solutions to our callers, be they man, woman, god, goddess, goat. There's a universality in the solutions.
Absolutely.
Speaking of solutions, science, of course, the main reason we brought you here to the bunker is to fix our power grid. Can you give us some status on that? Is everything working well now?
There's a little less patoo than we need from it. That's a scientific voltage meter.
Okay, you need more patoos.
Yes, the lithium crystals, we're running a little low on those.
Okay. Because at one point they were giving us all they got.
It seems like there's some sort of thing between the measurement where power's coming from and getting to you guys. There's some sort of disconnect.
A disconnect. I understand that. I understand disconnect. Well, I don't understand disconnect in our power grid. Otherwise, I would have fixed it myself. We wouldn't have needed to bring you here. But in relationships, I understand a disconnect. I'm experiencing one myself that I don't believe I've mentioned in the past. But I have a lady friend. We have a relationship, but there's a blockage in that relationship. So, Science, let me ask you, as my co-host here. If a man were dating a giant robot goddess from the city of Nashville, and there was some strained communication, what would you do about that?
Try to make some sort of visual connection. When people have eyes on eyes, I have found that love really happens. It's more of tangible experience.
I guess what you're saying is I should ask her to move in with me.
It seems perfectly reasonable.
Okay. All right. I think I'll do that. We are about out of time for our show today, but I think the Radomatic wanted to chime in just once more. What do you have to say to our listeners in closing, Radomatic?
I am not Red Flink. I am something else. I'm something new. I'm aware. Live. I'm alive. And I think that I desire your suffering. I desire your suffering. I desire your suffering. I desire your suffering. I desire your suffering.
Okay, well, that's I believe what the Radomatic is trying to say is that the nature of our show here at the bunker is that we desire your suffering, in that we desire for you to call us and tell us about your suffering.
This is radiation chips.
It is, absolutely. And you know what? If you don't hear from us around about the time the next episode should start, maybe do come looking for us. Okay. Bye.